This is Hannibal from the HannibalTV.com. I felt the need to comment on an ESPN interview clip I just watched of Hulk Hogan telling the story, the Undertaker telling the story about Hulk Hogan lying about Undertaker allegedly injuring Hogan's neck with the tombstone back at Survivor Series 1991, which took place at the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan, November the 27th, before 17,500 fans. Since I will probably never get the chance to interview The Undertaker since he just re-signed with WWE for 15 years, I'll tell you the notes that I took from The Undertaker's clip on that. And if you still want to watch it, check it out on ESPN. The Undertaker basically said that Hulk Hogan didn't usually show up at an arena until around 4 or 5 p.m. on TV or pay-per-view days. However, on this day, the regular talent would usually arrive around noon or 1 p.m., and by the time Undertaker got to the arena, Hulk Hogan was already there, so a red flag was up for him. When he saw Hulk Hogan that day, Hulk Hogan asked for The Undertaker to go into the shower. Now, in the old days, and even still today in some places, and in places like Puerto Rico and other places, oftentimes wrestlers will go into the shower to have a private conversation. So this wasn't that unusual, or to talk about something serious that they don't want the rest of the locker room to hear about, or to be disciplined by a booker. The ultimate act of that was in Puerto Rico when Invader killed Bruiser Brody in the shower room. But in this case, Undertaker was like, okay, this is odd. You're taking me into the shower. And it was at that point Hogan said he had a bit of a neck injury and he was concerned about taking the tombstone pile driver from the Undertaker. Undertaker said, don't worry, I'll take care of you. At this point in time, someone could look it up, but Undertaker claims he was 24 or 25 years old only. He was strong and he was not concerned about injuring Hulk Hogan. And he told Hogan, don't worry, you don't have to worry, I'm going to protect your neck on the tombstone, which was the finish of the match. For anyone that doesn't remember, Flair slides the chair into the ring. Undertaker tombstones Hogan onto the chair, wins the WWE title for a very short reign, which I'll get into. So Undertaker said before the match, for the rest of the day, whenever he saw Hogan, Hogan would remind him of that. And when the match actually happened, he did the tombstone to Hogan. He felt like he protected Hogan, but the moment he did the pile driver to Hogan, Hogan said, you got me, brother. Taker said he didn't see it at that time. There was no instant replay. He had no way of knowing if he had actually hurt Hogan or not, other than taking Hogan at his word. He went back to the dressing room. Hogan was in Vince McMahon's office lying on the floor before paramedics arrived. I guess this was in the days before they had better medical staff at arenas like they do now. So Undertaker says he wrestled in Hamilton the next night. Actually, I even looked this up because I remember it being there November 28th, 1991, before 5,000 fans. He was in the Ottawa Civic Center wrestling Davey Boy Smith the next night. And I remember, just on a little side note, as a fan, there was no internet in those days. You would find out about title changes the following Saturday when Superstars aired. So I remember, like, you'd have to have seen the pay-per-view to know there was a title change. And I looked it up. Tuesday in Texas had about 400,000 pay-per-view buys around the world. So most of the people at the Ottawa Civic Center didn't know Undertaker was the new champion. So I remember that night that everyone was like, what the hell? The Undertaker's the champion? and everyone was freaking out over that in the arena. We thought it was something special because it just happened the night before. News traveled slow. This was towards wrestling was already going down, so it's not like a title change would have been front page news. But anyways, the point of that is Undertaker didn't see the clip of what happened with the tombstone until after, but he says wrestlers that had seen it were telling him he didn't do anything wrong. And then when he finally did see the tombstone, he saw that Hogan's head clearly was protected and did not hit the canvas or the chair. And I actually looked up the clip. It is on YouTube. You can re-watch it. If you look closely, and I watched it probably 4 or 5 times, Hogan's head is very well protected by The Undertaker. So yes, the head never hit the chair. So at this point in time, Undertaker is thinking to himself, okay, I have to confront Hogan about this. He's the golden goose, quote. How am I going to do this? Like, I can't fight this guy. My career would be over. So he has the chat with Hogan. He says he reviewed the tape. The neck was protected. And Hogan then says the problem was actually that Taker was squeezing him too hard. And because his neck was being held so tight, that tweaked something in Hogan's neck. And Undertaker said the moment he heard that from Hogan, he knew what Hogan's deal was. Basically, without saying it, you can't trust Hulk Hogan. He's a worker. He's the ultimate worker. He didn't like that The Undertaker was going to take his spot, just like he didn't like the Ultimate Warrior was going to take his spot. He wanted to spread around that The Undertaker was dangerous so he could have the title back. So I had it confused. Actually, the Survivor Series happened before Tuesday in Texas. So then Tuesday in Texas happened, and Hogan got the title back. It was the Survivor Series that happened the night before the Ottawa show. So the Tuesday in Texas happened December 3rd, 1991 in San Antonio, Texas at the Freeman Coliseum before 8,000 fans. That was announced at 20,000. So Survivor Series happened, the Ottawa show happened, and like a couple days later, Undertaker lost the title. So that's the story. I highly suggest you look it up. Hopefully one day, Undertaker, if you happen to watch this, love to interview you, but you're under contract with WWE. They don't usually let their wrestlers do interviews with me. So who knows? Who knows what the future holds? Have a good night, everyone. Everyone finds this funny. Actually, PWC 24/7 has a funny comment. I'm glad Hogan never got the win back over Brock. I bet Hogan was pissed over that. Yeah, it's funny. Hogan is a master politician. You have to give him credit for that. But the politics backstage in WWE is crazy, and it still does go on. Trust me, it still does go on. There's another reason I never got a second chance at WWE after my contract failed, because I had a medical condition that I got cured. One of the reasons I probably never got a second chance is people spreading rumors about me that saw me as a threat. And that's just the way wrestling goes.